There is always one question on our minds. What came first, the Pikmin or the onion? No one really knows. So today we're going to try to solve this conundrum by figuring out when each Pikmin game takes place. Some of this is theory talk and we'll also be including spin-off, so be prepared. Let's begin at the earliest point of the timeline, Pikmin 1. Pikmin 1 is the first ever Pikmin game to be released, and it is a perfect place to start at the beginning of this timeline. Or is it? See, there's a game that could maybe take place a couple million of years in the past. Pikmin Bloom. If we take Pikmin Bloom to be canon to the Pikmin lore, then it would make sense if we placed it at the very beginning. Why? Well, it said that Pikmin takes place on a post-apocalyptic Earth, with humans being long gone. This is provided by many in-game things, like the planet in Pikmin 3 is just Earth, but a couple million years into the future, and items shown to expire in the early 2000s, 2010s, meaning that a nuclear war or some other type of drastic disaster happened during those years. In Pikmin Bloom, you play as a human character called Miis. I doubt I need to introduce you to Miis, but if you don't know for some reason, Miis were first made during the Wii era of Nintendo, and it allowed the person to create themselves or anyone they wanted. Miis are pretty cool, and that's why you should play Miitopia. Anyways, Miis are the humans that inhabited Earth all those years ago. But Miis weren't the only creatures to be alive and present during the pre-fallout of PNF 404. The Pikmin were also alive and well during this time. Each Pikmin has their own seedling, which I'll get to later. So the next game in the timeline will most likely be Pikmin 1. The only problem is that it's a couple million year gap, but that's no biggie. Pikmin 1 introduces the main character of the franchise, Captain Olimar, an old middle-aged space truck driver that happens to crash land onto an uncharted planet while taking a vacation from work. Olimar happens to survive, but unfortunately has 30 days left of breathable air. He impacted in the impact site, hence the name. He finds a nest that is a home to little plant-like creatures. He names them Pikmin, since they look like his favorite carrot brand, Pikmin carrots. He uses the red vegetables to help him gather the engine of his busted up ship, the SS Dolphin. Throughout his journey, he finds many of these nests which he calls onions, also based on a vegetable he likes eating. Now, time for some theory stuff. Where did these onions come from? I believe the onions are actually just seedlings, but like hella big. Between the events of Pikmin Bloom and Pikmin 1, humanity has fallen and Pikmin went to hide in their seedlings. After a couple million years, the seedlings adapted to the new Pikmin lifestyle and grew bigger, creating onions we know today. So right now, we have Pikmin Bloom at the very beginning of the timeline, followed up by some events in the middle which caused Pikmin to hide and adapt, finally the events of Pikmin 1. Now let's move on to the next entry, Pikmin 2. Pikmin 2 happens right after the events of Pikmin 1, explained in the opening cutscene of the game. Olimar returns back to Hookatate and is immediately in a financial situation with the company he works for, Hookatate Freight. Olimar and his new co-worker Louie are sent back off to PNF 404 to retrieve treasure after the president figures out how much money a single bottle cap is worth. They scour the planet for treasures and other goodies. After reaching their goal of 10,000 Pokos, Hookatate's currency, Olimar and Louie head back home. But there's just a little tiny problem. They forgot Louie back on the planet. The Hookatate Freight president sighs and goes back to PNF 404 to get more treasure with Olimar. And save Louie too, I guess. After a heroic adventure through the Dream Den and slaying the Titan Dweevil, Louie is saved and everyone can go home. Louie will not be forgotten this time. After some time at home, Hookatate Freight is in debt once again. Olimar and Louie are sent off to PNF 4 to repay the debt. But this time, in HD. That's right, the next event to happen in the timeline is Olimar's assignment from Pikmin 3 Deluxe. While these two minimum wage truck drivers begin to look for resources and Pikmin, a new set of captains comes hurling onto the planet. These are the Koopites, a species similar to Hookatations, which is what Olimar and Louie are. These Koopites are known as Alf, Brittany, and Charlie. These explorers venture out to PNF 404 after finding out that it has basically endless supply of food, which is what Koopa is in absolute need of. During their epic, Olimar finds the Plasm Wraith, a beast that's said to smell like oranges, according to Louie. Olimar is taken hostage, Louie escapes and leaves Olimar behind, soon getting himself taken hostage as well by a group of mosquitoes. The Koopites pick up a signal which is actually just Louie. They assume that he's Olimar, so they begin to beat the shit out of him until they answer where the Cosmic Drive Key is, a vital device needed to get back home. Louie gets all pissed, so in the morning he steals the Koopites' food supply and a rubber duck. They soon get the food and rubber duck back, and finally convince Louie to say where Olimar is. They head to where he is, defeat the Plasma Wraith, save Olimar, and take back the Cosmic Drive Key. They head off back home. But hold on, something's wrong. God damn it, we forgot the Hookatate ship. Yep, that's right. It's not Louie this time who got left behind, but an entire fucking ship. This ship is completely mangled and has seen better days. So Olimar and Louie are tasked by the president to retrieve the Hookatate ship. After hundreds of deaths and lives lost, blood and sweat ran down Olimar's face. He fights one last challenge. His credit card debt. Olimar's wife goes on a huge shopping spree with Olimar's money throughout Pikmin 2. And I like to assume that she also does this during the events of Pikmin 3. So far, that's the end of the timeline. Begins with Pikmin 1 and ends with 3 Deluxe. And if you're counting the spin-offs, then it begins with Bloom and ends with Deluxe. The only game left I have yet to put in is Hey Pikmin. I absolutely have no place for this game since it doesn't really continue the story of any Pikmin game, but most people put it right at the end of 3 Deluxe, which is fine, but there's not really any proof to prove that otherwise. So for now, I'll put it in another timeline, the one that no one cares about. Now with that settled, we will wait for Pikmin 4 to officially finish this timeline. So, did I figure out which one came first? No, not really. But we did make a canon and non-canon timeline for Pikmin franchise, so that's cool, I guess. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, subscribe, and remember to never out Pikmin the Hut.